All right, we are now live. Welcome to another edition of the Friday Forecast. I'm Robert Phoenix, and I apologize for being on the late side today. Um, I just had to take care of some early morning business, and it took me a little bit longer than I had expected. But we're here, and we're going to have a really awesome guest. And we've had him on here before. It's been a while. You might know him as Mark S in chat. His real name, and I always hope I don't butcher it, is Mark Simicheski. It's a little bit of a complicated spelling, uh, but we call him Mark S. But the long form is Mark Simicheski, and he is the curator of cruelty free cartoons. That's his website. I think he's going to be doing some remodeling on that website fairly soon. But well, we're going to get into. We'll talk about his journey and what's going on with him and his sabbatical. I'm calling it a sabbatical from Canada, and he's got some business that he's doing down here in the states and using his talents to illustrate some group events and conventions and all kinds of good stuff. So we're gonna talk with him about his um, insights because he spent a lot of time in the states. And when COVID hit, he essentially retreated uh, back to Canada because he was doing a lot of work in Vegas, and Vegas was just shut down. So he's had some time, like for a lot of us, there's almost this you know BC AD moment with COVID. It's like BC before COVID and AC after COVID. And so this is his first return journey to the States after COVID. And we had a chat earlier in the week, and he's had some very interesting insights as he travels what William Least Heat Moon called the Blue Highways of America. That's those are the highways that aren't the interstates. And you come in contact with a lot of small towns and kind of the folk of America. So we're going to get some insight and takes from him as it relates to his journey here and now. And he's also going to do some live illustrations, which means that we can bring some people onto the show. I'll put the StreamYard link into chat. And we can't do a bunch of people. Maybe we'll do 3 or 4. But he's going to do some live illustrations here today. And he's really good at quickly honing in on these essential like pieces of people's spirits and then bringing them out through the inquiry process and the illustration process. So he's done it before, and I'm really excited for him to be able to do that here with us today. So I'm really looking forward to it. Before he comes on here, I am going to give a little shout out to True Hemp Science. Let me just make sure that he got the link. All right. So I just sent the StreamYard link out to him. So let's do a little True Hemp Science. By the way, my special needs cat is getting very active here. Very, very active. What do you think, Jasper? Jasper's throne got disassembled for a moment. What do you think, Jasper? What do you think of this cat? She's starting to come alive. She's becoming animated. All right, let's do a little True Hemp Science love. I had half a moon dust gummy before the show. Just saying. And I'm not afraid to say it. We got St. Patrick's Day and we have the equinox, don't we? Boy, oh boy, it's going to be a fun weekend. I think I'll do some astro weather once Mark hits the road again. Literally hits the road again. We'll do some astro weather at the end of the show because I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it at the beginning of the show, but I didn't have the time to do it because I just wanted to get Mark. Wanted to get him. Wanted to get him on the shoe. All right, what do we got here? Let's see. Dot 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 dot. Here we go. True Hem Science. There it is. The one and only True Hem Science, truehemscience.com. And I sing the praises of this product every single day. And there's a reason that I do, because it has improved the quality of my life as it has improved the quality of many other people's lives. So I have full faith and credit. In sales, they call it transference, right? So I believe in the product and I believe in it so much, it's easy for me to talk about it. And if you go in here to trimscience.com, look at all their products, you put together a $100 order, you're going to get free products. So all you got to do is type in 15MNS, 15MINS. I'll repeat it, 15MINS, and you'll get the free product. You can put an order in. You can put a $100 order in, but if you don't type in that code, you don't get the free product. And everybody likes something free. We all like something free. $150 or more, and you get free shipping as well. And if you have any questions about CBD or what might be a good fit for you, don't hesitate to reach out to Chris. The contact is right here on the website, and he will talk to you. There's the number right there. That's what you call transparency, folks. You put your phone number right on there, speak to us, and you'll speak with him, and he'll help you out and answer all of your questions about CBD and what specifically might be the best fit for you. All right. Let's bring him on. The one, the only, Mark S. What's happening, brother?
Hey, how you doing? I'm well, thank you. Can you hear me?
You're loud and clear. It's great to have you on the show. I'm really excited to spend some time with you today.
Oh, it's nice to be here.
So, how's your day going?
Productive. I got this studio to work, of course, at the last second. My capture card went funny, so I was doing tech issues right before you texted me. But I got it working, and I'm just like set it, and hopefully it stays.
So the timing of the universe was perfect, right? I'm late and you're on time.
Exactly. What
Beautiful.
took you so long?
Yeah, it was an interesting morning. I went out and I got half a cow this morning, and so it was a really, I have no problem, just supporting local ranchers, local processors, and so a big shout out to Lizette and Robert who helped make that happen. And when you do something like that, it's also you're like connecting with other people. There's a whole process involved, which is more than just going down to the store and getting something that's cellophane wrapped. And anyway, that's where I was, and however long it took, and whatever the hassle was, it was far, far worth it. And,
You call that meat etiquette?
Meat etiquette, I think so. It's a meetup. That's what we had. We had a meetup.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So, are you still in San Diego right now?
No, I'm in Vegas right now.
Okay, so you've now moved on.
No, I haven't been to San Diego.
Oh,
yet,
you haven't gone yet. Oh,
no,
okay.
I was regrouping here in Vegas to get ready for San Diego, and then I'm in LA for a bit, and then so far going to Florida, and parts in between.
Right. So this is like your Easy Rider journey across the Southland.
Easy Rider Junior, because I sold my motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I when I moved to Vegas originally, I sold it because I saw on the highways people drive like they're playing Hungry Hippos, and I just couldn't. I mean, I'm a confident rider, but I couldn't track people enough to make it worthwhile to justify a bike. I figured I'd be dead.
Right. I hear you. So a lot of people, I think a fair amount of people know who you are because you've been on the show before and you've been pretty active in our little chat community. But some people may not know who you are. So why don't we take a little bit of time to establish that and talk about your work a little bit as an illustrator, somebody who does really high level. I'll just call them spirit caricatures. That's what I'll call your work, spirit caricatures. And you do a lot of other stuff as well. But how did you get here? How did you evolve from being an artist to moving into this type of work where you're really helping people kind of hone in on the kind of the inner spaces of who they are?
Uh, well, I mean, originally I went through the natural path. So I had failed 12th grade computers and drafting, and I was turned down for art school 3 times. So I was well on my way to having a
You
successful
and
art.
you and Hitler suffered the same fate, huh?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think where I started with it is, and this is the mindset I had. I was actually working in the oil fields, doing radiography. And by the time I was 22, I never had art actually after seventh grade in school because I was in a small town in eastern British Columbia, just kind of north of the Idaho-Washington border. And I mean, this is a K to 12 school with 300 kids, and art just didn't exist. And so I think time I was 22, I had this belief that, oh, my life is over. That art dream is for somebody else. I'm just going to have to stay in the on the oil fields in pipeline or whatever.
Is this in
But
Calgary, the Calgary area?
no, I was all over northern Alberta. So some places where it would dip to minus 50 something, or it could be, even in the 80s, 90s, in the bush mostly, or in the prairies. So I'd be on a pipeline project or plant project. This wouldn't be in the city. This would be all over the place. So it was a good. I didn't mind it in a way because I only had one boss because I dealt with radioisotopes, so no one really messed with me. That was fine. So I just shot welds, X-raying. So when they would weld a pipe together, I would X-ray the welding to make sure that it was safe. So they call that non-destructive testing.
Hmm.
But I end up getting I saw an ad for a film school in Vancouver, and I was living down there at the time. And I just thought, oh, I'll just go have a look just to see. And because I had really no belief that I could ever do anything art related because I thought that was over. I was already pretty conditioned to believe life was what it was. And it turned out when I was there that I had the three key things that they're looking for in a serious animation student. I had a pulse. I liked to draw, and I could get financing. So I drew a cartoon on a sticky note for somebody, the registrar at the school, and I was given a seat in the program. So, and then I just kind of threw myself into it. So I just walked away from the old life and in the new one, and then trying to adjust kind of the country bumpkin redneckiness to kind of fit into Vancouver and downtown at the time because it was the opposite world.
Hmm. Right.
and
Yeah.
um and so I did it for a few years, and then there was a point where I thought, well, maybe I should go back to school. So I'm in my later 20s, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just become a psychologist or a chiropractor or something. And when I was in doing my college courses or whatever. I just got in as adult student, and I took drawing as an elective, and one of the teachers saw me drawing, go, why aren't you in the art program? And I go, well, you guys turned me down twice, so I couldn't get in. And he goes, well, you've got a seat for the next one.
Mm.
And so I changed trajectory into the fine art program, but I only lasted about 6 weeks because for me, I treat art as a business. I'm solving problems, so that's what I like to do. I'm not really at that time either. I wasn't also very whimsical with things, and I just wanted to learn kind of almost Russian style art where it's blood, sweat, and tears get really good, and then you get fancy afterwards. But I didn't fit in with their contemporary art school model, and I got pretty frustrated and angry, so I
What
quit.
what what do you what can you describe the contemporary art school model? What is that?
Well, one of the things that this was the moment we were in a class, and they put a thing out, or like an exercise to draw 30 things in 3 hours, and the whole class starts groaning. I'm like, what's the big deal? I mean, I did some animation time, so this is like no big deal to start drawing stuff. So I'm drawing different scenes or buildings or objects, and I'm just cranking stuff out. It's no big deal. But the art teacher comes by and goes, "Oh no, 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 Mark! You got it all wrong. This is a contemporary art school. It's not supposed to look like anything. You're supposed to frolic with the materials." And I'm I just inside I was like, that's it. And so they kind of heard the glass break inside, and I wrapped my stuff up quietly, and I was mad, and I says, "Well, I'll show you fucking hippies." And I took my last money and I built my first website for the cartooning, and I was just with markers on a board. Um, and then I think my first year I made $11,000, but I was hustling, hustling, hustling. And the second year I doubled it, and then so on and so on. And I got to a certain place with it, but I was all hustle and there was no love. It was more hustle to get ahead. I was pretty aggressive with my work,
Right.
but I ended up having, I guess we would say, a spontaneous Kundalini event that changed trajectory, that opened me right up and made things different. Everything was different. And so in that time when it happened, I agreed to go where it would take me. I
Hmm.
mean, little did I know that would be, quite a hell ride. But at the same time, I mean, the crucible definitely firms your character up if you're willing to stay upright in it. and
So
and then just
so
things happened.
so the contemporary art model was that like your first waltz with postmodernism and sort of the introduction to illustrating things like critical theory. I mean, is that really where that was going?
It was, but I didn't have the awareness to articulate my frustration. I just felt basically angry with what they were saying the whole time.
Hmm.
When we did get some postmodern stuff, and I'm like, who are these idiots? And why is this even important? Because I'm practical.
Right.
That's
Right.
just me,
Yeah.
I like things to, have a multiple functions and be useful.
Yeah. This is a on topic, but a little bit off topic. I've been noticing this trend when it comes to logos and like the logos for specific sports teams. And I've been noticing this trend where the logos of the teams are being recreated, but they're being recreated in a kind of um, infantile, slightly primitive version of the actual logo. Have you seen this thing at all pop up?
Well, I watched it in corporate where they'd make these kind of cold, kind of illustrator style graphical logos, which I have zero attraction to. I'll make an Art Deco, Tartarian beer label style. That's up my alley, so I'm not the guy for that. But I know what you're talking about. It's yeah, it's not even that attractive, but
It
business.
reminds me. So you remember in Superman where there was this one character. It was like the anti-Superman. I forget his name, but he was like made out of like marble or stone or whatever. And the way that that character was illustrated was like off, right? It was like Superman but off. And it this style kind of reminds me of that. And there's this whole theory about how you can track like where a republic is based on its coinage. And there are certain coins when you go back and look at them historically, like through the theoretical Roman Empire, like there's a period when the Roman Empire is really strong and their coins are clear and vivid and the imagery is cut and strong. And then as you begin to kind of follow the decline of whatever this is, the coins begin to match like the quality or lack thereof of the empire, right? And by the time you get to the end of it, the coins are, they're really very not distinguishable. And it kind of feels like that with the logo game. As I see this thing play out, these are like bad copies, bad imitations of the original logos. And they're kind of trendy. And it just seems to me like this is symbolic of something. Like everything is kind of moving towards this third grade copy or this, when I say third grade, I'm not talking about, well, maybe it looks like third grade, but third grade meaning like it's downgraded three times from the original.
Well, what I've noticed, I just noticed yesterday. I mean, I haven't been on social media much lately, but I was just scrolling through Facebook and the stories that, that story section, I was just going through that. The amount of depravity in those things was horrible. And it was like, where did this come from? And it was super low and a lot of it. And, I was just watching,
Oh no,
where is this okay?
yeah, and it's gotten to the point now where when people are flooded and inundated with that kind of information, um, and shock and trauma, there, there's only two things you can really do with it. One, well, there's three. One, you can go into a kind of outrage. Two, you just sort of let it go and say, I'm not going to pay attention to this, right? Or three, you become inured to it, and then what happens? It becomes part of this normalization process, and that's troubling. The normalization is troubling.
Well, I think a lot of this stuff is still a trap to engage with at a level because, at least at where I'm at this moment, we can look at all the things that are going on and it can be terrifying at a level. But ultimately, um, I'm stuck with my own self, whatever the virtual reality is. And
Right.
my job is to wake up. So every time that, even in my sense of care, like, care was weaponized this last while, even my care and outrage takes me out of my center. And it's like a trick.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I can look at this garbage for a second. I just like, okay, I'm not even going here. And
Right.
my job is basically to firm myself up and keep my own vibe high for those that I'm meant to meet, rather than trying to change the mind of all the duck decoys out there.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Makes total
There,
sense.
some people just there's no capacity to see that stuff, and they're totally okay with it, and you can't do anything with that.
Yeah. It's really interesting because for the most part, I've been very self-selective over the years about who I'm going to communicate with, spend time with, and spend energy on. And as a result of that, I've surrounded myself with really good people that are like yourself, awake, waking up, evolving. So I've just sort of baked that into my life. But every now and then, I have a moment where I get into a conversation with somebody that's kind of outside that spectrum, and it's like I realize, man, we are just on different planes of existence. Where,
But they're still customers, really. So we we make the
well, maybe
bridge.
for you, this person was not a customer. Trust me.
Got it.
Yeah, they were a drive by.
Yeah.
So uh, speaking of drive, you're driving across the country. You were in Canada pretty much since COVID, and you decided to come back down here and revisit our great country. Not that yours isn't great, but our great country. And you and I talked a little bit earlier in the week about some of the things that you've been witnessing as you go through the little interstate highways, the blue highways of America. And why don't we kind of revisit that conversation? And let's get some of your thoughts on how you are viewing and experiencing small town America.
Well, I'll, a number of the people didn't look very well. They didn't look that healthy. I don't know if it's from poverty and processed food or whatever, but they looked pretty sick. And not everybody. There's some people that are vital and they're doing their thing. The towns, there's a lot of stores that are empty on Main Street, which was kind of happening before this anyway, but it's more noticeable now. And at the same time, there was a weird trend where I was in central Washington, and I think a lot of Seattle moved there, and so they were trying to recreate little hubs of Seattle in a ranch town at the crossroads in eastern Washington. So there's some things there that you would never have seen 5 years ago that were these businesses like to cater to the wine community or the fancy olive oil community,
Were
stuff
you
like that too.
like in Chehalis or someplace like that, or
I was in Ellensburg.
Allensburg? Okay, yeah, yeah. So, what kind of Seattleites have relocated? Were they the Seattleites that like to keep their guns, or the Seattleites that want to take your guns away? Did you figure that out?
I didn't engage with anyone there so much. I did more in Idaho, and um, and that's where I saw that first kind of sense of people who really cared about their freedom. At least there, I mean, Eastern Washington and Western Washington, two different planets, so they could be
God, they're
very
so
similar.
different.
You
They're
go
so different.
over that mountain pass, and the soy content goes way high,
Yeah, yeah. I'll never
and it's
forget
noticeable.
the first time I made that journey was in December, I think, of 1991. And once I got on the other side of the Cascades, it was just amazing. I was like a different planet, totally
Very,
different
very
planet.
different. And I mean, of course, in like farming, ranching, I mean, there's a bit of a pragmatic harshness in life where you have a set of values and rules, and so you have to do. And there's always farm work, so people are that's where they're at, right? That's what they do.
Right.
You
They
expect.
don't have a lot of useless time on their hands.
No, not really,
Yeah.
unless you're gonna like restore a car and make a monster truck, which I
Right.
don't think is a waste of time.
No, I don't think so either. No.
In
Yeah.
Idaho, I got an earful. This one lady was very aware of the machinations of Black Rock and Vanguard, and also just the people from. They said it was more California that were buying up all the places when I was in Twin Falls,
Yeah.
and even the storefronts there looked like not full, but it seemed, I don't know, it was quiet, busy. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, she was talking about that nothing's affordable now and how people were living off their credit cards. And I mean, she was very feisty. I liked her.
How did that conversation come about?
Uh, I went. It was an antique store, and I think we got talking, and I know what we were talking about, but I mentioned it came up that I was from Canada, where I was from. And she goes, basically, I get the same reaction now from, "What's wrong with your country?" And I'm like, I mean,
It should be like, what's wrong with the leadership of your country? And we could ask
no,
the same thing about what's wrong with the leadership here.
I'm contemplating it because there are a lot of people that, I know a lot of people who aren't okay with it, but there's a lot of people that just seem oblivious to what's happening. They're just fine. And, and it's kind of surreal of, of how little pushback there really, really is. And then even there are some that are against the pushback, vehemently. And it's surprising, I came across the border and I could feel the difference. And even being in Las Vegas, I feel a sense of relief. And for Vegas, I feel kind of calm and relaxed right now. Because, I'd be sitting in a coffee shop and I'd be hearing people, they'd be all wound up about the WEF and stuff like that. And I'm like, what a relief. Actually, and they're fired up. And it's, you just don't hear it very often, only in a small pocket, here and there. But otherwise, it's pretty quiet.
So uh, this is a little off topic, but kind of on topic too. Um, why do you think Canadians might be more predisposed towards what's happening? Do you think it's the fact that there's this kind of shadow monarchy and the relationship with the shadow monarchy? Is it socialized medicine that is kind of this indoctrination into some form of socialism and the greater good? What do you think the mechanism is that is uh, having people accept the current reality in Canada?
I'd say it's a conditioning field because I've been thinking about this a lot and what's going on. I remember basically, even growing up, and it was always the rhetoric that Canada was one of the best places on earth that you could be, and for a long time it really, really was. But I think Canada's also enjoyed so much peace and comfort that people can't imagine that their own leadership is out to kill them. you know, and there's
Yeah.
that. It's an incredulousness. I mean, I when I remember when I after the great toilet paper crisis of 2020, when I came across the border for a little bit, and I said to my friend, I go, "This is a coup. This is what's going on." And he kind of wanted to pat me on the head and said, "There, you're just overtired. You go sleep for a bit, and then tomorrow morning you'll feel much better, and we'll talk about it." But fast forward a year later, then he's giving me the red pill low down left and right. And I said, well, I enjoy speaking to the tinfoil hat version of you than the old version. And he said, well, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So there
Whoa.
are lots of people who have come to terms, but there could be a fear, fear of, um, I mean, Canada is also expensive. It's not cheap to live. I mean, I see it, I mean, at least in Vancouver, but I watch the prices everywhere just screaming upwards. Um, but I think it's mostly comfort and then the flickering blue box that everyone faced their furniture towards that told them their life experience instead of listening
Mhm.
to their own.
Right.
TV is, you're probably in a colder place. People watch more TV, I would think.
Right. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that there is a mechanism somewhere in our brain or maybe somewhere in our genetic code that's like a switch? And some people have the switch to be able to put on the sunglasses, right? Like from They Live. Like there's a switch. And other people just don't have the switch. Do you think that that's true?
Yeah. I mean, there's who knows what a person's, let's say, their karma when they came into this lifetime would be and where they're at and what their role is. I mean, we're not the same. I mean, equality is goofy. We all have
Right.
different capacities and blessings and challenges. So
Right.
definitely, and I think then when you get laziness into it, people will use kind of hubris and cynicism and attack to shut down anything that would force a reflection on what's actually going on. They'll shout it down. They'll shame it down. They'll do whatever they can to make that conversation go away.
That's been the tactic of comedy in the states since Trump and since COVID. That's been the tactic, and you can see it on the late night talk shows with Jimmy Kimmel and the other Jimmy and Stephen Colbert. That kind of dark, cynical, um, sarcastic rhetoric, but it it doesn't really do anything. It's not funny, but that's how this technique has evolved in terms of trying to get people to laugh at things, but also reinforcing their so-called version of reality.
It's it's just dumb. It's not even funny.
It's not funny at all.
Nothing is funny. I mean, I haven't had really any real TV for between 15 and 20 years. I mean, I might catch something here and there if I'm somewhere, but when I try to watch this stuff, I go, this is not funny. Even the laugh track I find condescending.
Right. Yeah.
It's but there is that kind of compliance mind. So if it's on TV, it must be elevated, must be true. This is culture. It's a conditioning field. So if we understand that we're so easily programmed, I mean, that's just how it is unless you start to break it. Um, and even when you're like, I noticed here, even that my trip down here and from Canada, where I was living was a conditioning field. You're only allowed to go so far within it. The energy wouldn't permit much more than what the conditioning field was. Um, as I came further south, it got a little spicier down here, which is kind of nice. And even when I'm here in Vegas, it looks like nothing ever happened. It's dynamic in a way. People are hustling, so to speak, that I've noticed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was there about 6 weeks ago, and it was booming. It
Yeah.
was it was booming, and there was a period there where everything had completely shut down. It was a ghost town. There was another period after 2009 when the economy collapsed. There was a period there in Vegas where all these projects stopped, and I was hanging out there. I think it was 2010 at the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl wasn't there, but we were hanging out there, and I was talking to bartenders and cab drivers, and they were telling me that there were people who were jumping off buildings in Vegas in 2010 because they had lost everything. So really, very Vegas has gone through these really dark patches, and it looks like it's kind of on the other side of it again.
again, and yeah, there's a real strange optimism, which, you know what, I'll I'll go along for the ride because you might as well live while you're here.
Right.
And and what I realize
I
is,
agree with that.
as much as I see that I still have to unlearn my own influence on myself as I'm going through this to see what's going on, because there's lots of information that we can get, and regardless, I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well live fully and do what I'm here to do rather than
R-
try to, I guess what the next step is.
Right. Um, One of the things I experienced in Vegas, and this was the locals. I found the locals. These are people that we had a drink at a bar there. Somebody from who watches the show invited us over to where she worked. So we went there, and she was super nice, really really nice, and had been in Vegas for a long time. And these were just people that we ran into that worked there and lived there. And I got to tell you, like they were really cool, and they had a very optimistic spirit. And they had this really interesting belief in Vegas as a town, and I was like, wow, that's an interesting spirit.
Yeah, it is a friendly place for networking. There's always something to do. I mean, there on the kind of the flip side of that, the networking never ends either.
Right.
So there's, getting a connection in some ways is a little harder, because people are networking, or because of the weirdness, people can be a little they can find friendliness off-putting sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, why are you so friendly to me?
Yeah, what's your angle?
What's your angle? Those are usually New Yorkers, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I thought the locals were really, really cool. My experience with the non-locals was a little bit different on the streets, and I actually experienced a vibe there that I had not experienced in a while. And so there was this one period where I was kind of walking by the Strat, and that area that's like down past the Strat that you and I were talking about.
Yeah, it's a little grim.
They called that the Arts District, by the way. Did you notice that?
Yep.
I'm like, if that's your arts district, I think you got some work to do on your art. But I noticed that there were a lot of tourists who are black in Vegas, which is not uncommon, right? It's like they're there hanging out. Everybody just goes over. I don't know if it's my imagination or not, but it felt to me like for the first time in my life, as I kind of circulated amongst a very mixed group of people, that there was a certain type of tension that I could feel that I had never felt before. And that was weird. It was weird, I have to say. And I think for me, it feels like a byproduct of like the last 4 or 5 years. And, I could probably sit down and have a conversation with any number of these people. And then maybe within 5 minutes, we'd be fine. And we'd, be telling stories and maybe having a beer or whatever. Right. But in that kind of inert space, there was just something I felt that was different. I had never felt that before. And I don't know if you felt that while you're there or not, but that was an experience I had. It was very strange.
Well, I actually, just the other day, I was filling up, and there was a guy in the line in front of me at the cashier, and he lives in the arts district, and he said he wants to move out as fast as he can because the homeless people have made it almost unbearable with theft, and like that level of crime. And
Yeah.
he says that he um he felt he hates it there.
Yeah.
It's because it's, I mean, if you look around, there is this rise in homelessness, and so that, people will, I guess, create a community somewhere, and the arts district is semi-industrial, so they can get away with it more, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Vegas is the only city that I've been to. They have these animated billboards where they'll have, 4 or 5 messages. It's the only city that I've been to where there was a billboard that was in support of PETA, And then, a couple miles away, there's a billboard that said, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, and
Nice.
this billboard didn't build itself. I'm like, whoa, that's Vegas right there in a
Well,
nutshell.
even though I look around at the bumper stickers and personalized license plates, I mean, everyone's stating who and what they are in their belief. Like it's a lot of that
Yeah,
here, and so there's that idea of this is who I am. Pay attention.
right. And now they have the Raiders. Now they have an identity. Look out.
Yes.
And all that comes along with being a Raider. Are you going to come on the show today? Or are you just going to be a tease? Why don't you come over here? Everybody wants to see you. Everybody wants to see you. Come here. Come here. Is this going to be the moment? Come here. Come over here. She's circling. There we go. Let me see if I can bring her. Oh shit! Almost had her. Yeah, the new edition has been very animated since she's arrived. Now, last couple of days, she's really incarnating into the household here. It's very very interesting to watch. Yeah, yeah. There you go, baby. I got her. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. I can only hold her for a few moments, but this is Peachy. This is the new special needs cat. Here we go. Thanks, Peachy. There's been a big request for a Peachy sighting. Um, what else? You got anything else in terms of observations from the back roads of America?
I really appreciate this country for the level of that energy of making things happen. And at the same time, there are some things I'm driving through, like, basically in the retail kind of cornucopia. You're driving down any street, and you'll have all these strip malls with 30 businesses in them, and the energy it takes to service all that. But at the same time, people have these dreams, these visions. They're making it happen. They're going for it. You don't see that so much to that level in Canada, and so as much as it's wild in some ways, I find it fun. That there is the idea of what's possible. Let's make it happen. Let's go through that mountain.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. There is that here, and again, just to bring it back to Vegas, I had a flight flight change in Vegas, so I was there for about an hour and a half. And when I got on the next plane, there was a whole group of people that had been at a convention in Vegas, and it was like um like a goods convention, like you stuff you'd buy, and like trinkets, toys, um, souvenirs. It was that kind of convention, right? It was like potpourri. You're a retailer. We got shit to sell you, right?
Mhm.
And it was packed, right? It was packed. And I remember sitting down on the plane, and I was next to two women who were going back to San Antonio. They asked me if I was there for the show, and I said no. I said, what show? And she told me, and I said, how was it? And she said, oh, it was great. And I said, well, did you find anything useful for you to sell in your shop or whatever? She says, oh yeah, we found some really good things, right? So to your point, right, like that's the most fundamental thing that you could do is to go there and buy shit like for your store, and that's what they were there to do. And there were plenty of people doing that.
And I think people need things to look forward to in life in general. So any place where you can grab that seed that kind of keeps that fire in your belly or the hope alive, you know, I think that's important. To
Yeah,
celebrate that when you get it. Wherever it comes from.
yeah, yeah. I agree. We all need more of that. Um, how do you feel? Well, before we open up the chat here, I wanted to just show people your website. And are you working on your website again, or what's the story with your website?
The Tune Into You one is, you know, it's okay. My old one, my cruelty free cartoons one, I'll have to rebuild it, but it's still there. You get a sense of it.
Right.
And the video of me working on the front is probably, well, since 2012.
Why don't we go into cruelty free just to show people?
Sure.
Um,
You can show that video that on the front page of my site, and it get us an idea of what it's like when I'm at a party.
okay, let's do it. Let's check it out. Let's see. Where are we? Uh, 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 uh. Okay. Should be in here somewhere. Where did it go? Uh, hold on. Yeah. Let's see. It is here. Here. There we go. I didn't have everything scrolled down. There it is. All right. So there's your website. And I don't know if I have to enable sound on StreamYard, but let's just play the video and see what
Probably
happens.
helpful.
I don't know if StreamYard needs that.
No, you got. I can hear the sound.
That was a lot of fun. Great experience. It makes you laugh the whole time you're there. Anybody does not recommend this for a party, they're crazy.
So much fun. It was fun watching other people, and we didn't know what to expect, but he got us.
I love his work. I think he, even though he's an artist, he really gets connections with people, so he can draw everything like he feels.
He has my spirit, and also Jorge he's exactly what we are. I don't know how he knows that. We are very romantic. I always want to look sexy, and he made me sexy.
I definitely recommend it to any group that's wanting to do this kind of thing.
It was a great party experience.
I would recommend him for anything.
You know what I love about that is how you're getting into it, right? They're having a good time. You can tell, right? But you're having a good time too.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a great video.
I haven't seen that in a couple of years. Actually, it was kind of fun.
No, it was really great. It looks like you had Newt Gingrich there as one of the one of your people,
Yeah.
or at the very least, a very close lookalike.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it could have been.
Well, I mean, it's not. Well, I don't think it was him, but it sure looked like him. So you're headed out to San Diego to go do a convention, right? That's your next, sort of big work.
Yeah, the IHRSA, the International Health Racket Sport Association. So it's the one of the biggest fitness conventions in the world, and so it's all the manufacturers of equipment and anything to do that touches a gym, everything. It's a big deal in the fitness industry,
right?
And my client, who one of my bigger clients, they have a podcast, and I do artwork for them and for his book and things like that. So I'll be in their booth while he's doing his podcast and drawing people, and they have a big party planned for Tuesday night.
Technology sometimes gets a really bad rap, but let's just do the math here, right? You've got the tools at your disposal to do stuff in real time that really didn't exist 25 years ago. Next, you got a guy doing a podcast, streaming out to the world, right? Today, we're going to combine the two of them, with doing what you're doing in real time and a podcast. And sometimes we have to step back and just recognize that there are some really cool things about technology. Yeah, can it enslave us, make us lazy? Sure. But as far as I can tell right now, it's making our world a little bit better.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
And, even this, like today, when you said, come on, I had to hustle to solve problems to make it work. I'm in a small enclosed space, but I popped up a green screen. I reworked all my equipment to make it work. And actually it was a happy result, which I'm glad. I think I work well under pressure.
Yeah. I was listening to this guy yesterday talk about deadlines and how he was talking about, yeah, I could deliver my story right now. But it just seems like when I get closer to the deadline, I'm better, right? Like everything kind of fires more quickly. And so I think there's something to that, getting right up to the starting line with something or the finish line, whatever it is.
Well, that sort of Damocles will encourage expediency.
Yeah, right. I like that. Do it or else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No time to think. Well, actually, that's what I think is my thing is I don't like to think. If I can help it as much as possible, not think. So I let stuff come to me, what's mine, rather than trying to solve it because I'll just make a mess of it. And if I just let what I need to see, I lay it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. That's the way it is, man. I get it. All right. So are you ready to do a little magic here?
I'm ready.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link to join us on StreamYard here in the chat. And Mark will work with a few of you. I think we have about an hour left in the show. We'll just see how Mark is feeling, and we'll take the temperature as things go on. We won't be able to get to everybody, but we'll be able to get to enough people to give you a taste and a sense as to what Mark does and how the magic really happens here. So let me get the link up, and I'll just copy that. I'm going to put it in chat. And this is one of the great things that that we can share with each other here on Fridays. We have such a talented group of people that are a part of our little network here. LMM, who just joined the chat, she's going to be a guest in about 3 weeks, and she's got this really fantastic healing technique that she's been working on, and I can't wait to have her on as a guest and break some of that stuff down. The tremor method. Have you ever heard about that? The tremor method at all?
Not yet. No.
Oh, really interesting. So yeah, she's gonna be with us in a few weeks. We have it's a super talented room. Hey, don't be shy. I just put the link in. If you want to jump on board here and have Mark do your spirit caricature. Oh,
but there are no refunds on free pictures. Remember?
Okay, there are no refunds. Guess who you get straight out of the gate? You get Lyle Coyote.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, let's bring him on. Lyle, you're in the studio. You're live.
Yeah, I'm walking around half dressed, not half dressed, eating lunch. I didn't realize. Now I understand.
So, is that a semi-naked lunch? Is that what that is?
No, I got pants on. Don't I? Yeah. Okay.
Let me tell you something.
No, so I didn't realize this is how it worked. I thought you could just send a picture of yourself or something like that.
No, it's real time.
You got real time. So your hand is moving that fast. Will it be an animated picture?
I don't know. No, it'll be all about you. But we're gonna have a conversation for sure.
I'm gonna shut up. This is gonna be you and Mark now.
Oh, okay, I get it.
All right. So this is how it works. Anyway, first of all, nice to meet you.
Pleasure, Mark. I loved your chat you guys were having. It was really interesting.
Oh, thank you. So here's how it works. Hand on your heart, sir.
Say it again, sir.
Hand on your heart.
Okay.
So you feel in that spot and breathe into it. In this moment from your heart to you, if you felt completely free, you could be or do anything. What would that be for you?
Fishing.
All right. What kind of fishing?
Fresh water.
Like dynamite or casting, trolling?
Rod and reel,
Okay,
river or lake or pond.
gotcha.
Hummingbirds are around, flying around.
I can make this work for you, no problem. And let's just.
That's amazing, huh? God, seriously, Robert, how do these artists do this? This is amazing, huh?
Well,
We
what I
all
said
have our
before,
gifts.
The secret is not thinking.
That's my specialty. That should be. Wow, oh, that is cute.
Oops, where is my puck? There we go.
Robert, when was it that you were in Vegas when you saw that crew of people?
About 6 weeks ago.
Okay, so it was recent. Okay, right. It was post fake pandemic or during the fake pandemic.
Oh yeah, it was just recent. Yeah.
We get that. You got that new fade haircut there. We'll get that in there.
He's got the Travis Bickle cut.
Yeah, this is actually. You imagine how Travis Bickle was before. This is like 4 weeks old. Let's see if we can get a hummingbird here. If they'll come in while I'm here. Yeah, that's good.
Lyle, you got to come to Texas in September.
Is there good fishing there?
No, it's the Hummingbird Festival.
Oh, the Hummingbird Festival. Yeah. Have they come? Who was your friend who was the hummingbird expert? There's a woman you kept mentioning whenever we were talking about hummingbirds. You kept on mentioning a friend of yours who, we'll ask so and so, because I was telling you how the Mexican hummingbirds come back. Right. There's some Allen hummingbirds that stay all year long. Then later on in the then during winter, a certain segment of them, I call them jade. They go back to Mexico and then they come back again.
Yeah.
And you said, and you keep on mentioning someone. Oh, she'll notice the increase.
It's probably Joan, actually.
Joan, yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. You got a boat.
Oh, I got a boat too, huh? Oh, sheesh. Wow, that is amazing. I guess the software helps you go faster, doesn't it? Huh?
Nope. The software is neutral.
Okay. It seems like you color in so fast.
Well, I'm painting the lines in. So as I'm going here, I'm just sketching, painting. And I've been around a little bit, so I have a trick or two that I use.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Robert, have you ever seen our friend Chris's oh wow, that's great, Mark. I don't think I've ever had a cartoon done of me.
Your modeling debut?
Yeah, this is my modeling debut. Oh wow, that's great, Mark.
Oh, we're not done yet here.
One of the things that I noticed very early on with Mark's work was usually when there's a caricature done of a person, they tend to bring out, in some ways, the worst of you, right? And when I saw Mark's work, I'm like, he's bringing out the best of you with these caricatures. And I was like, this is a really, really interesting dude and a really interesting medium.
Well, it hurts to hurt people, at least for me. And I don't think the world's a better place when people feel like crap.
Right. I agree with you. Would you agree with me, though, Mark, that the whole idea behind caricature is to kind of distort the individual in a way that's non-flattering? Would you agree with that?
There's a trend. I mean, with some people. Like say if I get asked to draw someone in a really aggressive way, I have to check the room to make sure that it's okay. Because one person might be all right with it, and though it's not my not my love to do it that way, but someone watching could get traumatized by what I do to that person. And so I'm really careful not to do that. And it's just not fun. Like it's more fun to get someone having a good time than to destroy them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've sat by while somebody got their cartoon done and saw them, and I was thinking, oh my God, she's gonna hate that with the giant ears, which I never mentioned.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
They bring out those things that you're self conscious about. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm actually better looking in my cartoon than I'm in real life. So and I'm like really, that's oh, that is a nice. Even the fish looks injury free.
It's a cruelty-free catch. It's line caught.
Well, we're going to add something else fun here. Where is that? Oops, here. I can bring in your love of hummingbirds with this.
Oh, that's almost like the scrub jays, huh?
Well, they're so colorful; it's hard to get it all in one go. But
oh God, yeah,
nice proboscis. There's one.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Okay, I made a layer mistake.
Oh, there's 3 in this tree here. Oh, there. No.
Yeah, we started to get them to come back here, but they're just starting to show up now.
Yeah. A little undo action here because I went too far with my layers.
I told you how we have some that stick around all year long. The Allen's hummingbird.
There we go. The gossamer effect.
I like that story Mark told about his friend who came back a year later or a few months later with his giving him the red pill down.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's crazy.
So I know this is a little off topic, but I saw this thing that Chat GPT did where it took the Family Guy cartoon and it turned it into a 70s sitcom. So it was just like the intro to a 70s sitcom, and it created all of the Family Guy characters out of cartoon and into like quote unquote human rendering. And the ability for Chat GPT to get the feel and the tone of the 70s and the song, it created the song. Like it was creepy. It was creepy that it was so good that it could figure this thing out just by extrapolating the characters from Family Guy. But the one thing that was weird about it is that when you looked at like the human renderings, they weren't animation like Family Guy. They looked like me and you theoretically. When you looked at their hands, they had like 6 fingers. They all had 6 fingers, like not including the thumb. That part was really weird. It's like, okay, Chat GPT doesn't have it all right yet, unless it's telling us something. Oh, look at that. We got the whitewater effect and everything.
Got the hummingbirds, got a net.
And the birds, yeah, exactly.
What do you think, Lyle?
Oh, that is just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That is, Mark. Thank you so much. That's fantastic.
My pleasure.
So, Mark, are you going to be able to save these and maybe we can pass them along? Is that possible?
Absolutely. I'm going to save it right now. And you can just send Robert your email. You have it, and I'll send them out afterwards.
Mark,
Sounds
thank
good.
you so much. You're just such a delight, and one of those. My aim is to someday be a good person like you, is bringing so much joy into people's lives instead of just misery like I do.
Well, thank you. Well, I have flipped the bird before.
Thank you so much, you guys. I can't wait to see who's next. I'd love to see some of my friends from Chitaria show up so I can see what they look like.
All right, Lyle, have a great day, man.
Nice to meet you.
We'll see you back in the virtual. I guess we're already in the virtual. See you later, man.
Ciao, buddy.
All right. So let's bring on Kelly. Is this Kelly B? No, it's not. Is this Kelly B?
No, it's Kelly M.
Kelly M. Hi, Kelly M.
Hi.
Kellim.
So why don't you
Hi.
introduce yourself to
Hi.
Mark?
Wow. I'm here in Montana, from Montana. Actually, I'm originally from Eastern Washington, which grew up on a ranch just south of Grand Forks.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
BC.
Doukhobor country. They have Doukhobors in Washington State?
No, they're in Grand Forks.
Okay.
They're all in
So,
Grand Forks.
no getting naked and burning anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I know
thanks for
exactly where that is.
thinking.
That's really pretty country, though.
Yeah, it's really in the middle of nowhere. If you really want to get away, go up there to Republic, and not much going on, but it's very pretty, and
Yeah.
that's where I grew up.
I noticed that Eastern Washington is wildly beautiful, and I end up going up and into Lewiston and all the way down Idaho on my way down here, and it was surreal. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, Miss Kelly, hand on your heart.
Okay.
Feel that spot and breathe into it. It's not a test, it's a game. So in this moment, if you felt free from your heart to you, you could be or do anything. What would that be for you?
I'd probably train horses.
Okay. I got you. So that's an expensive lifestyle.
I have 4 of them.
4. Nice. You know, I love animals, but I've never been around horses much. I was violently thrown from a Shetland pony when I was 11. But I've never been around them that much.
They have big souls.
Mm-hmm.
But they are expensive. I don't tell my husband how much my farrier charges me every 6 weeks. And it's the reason I don't get pedicures, I don't get manicures. The horses get all that. But
So you make this kind of fun. Now, the horses you're training, is there a certain breed that you deal with mostly, or?
quarter horses and paints.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite horse in the world died last year,
Oh,
and he was a fabulous pinto paint type of horse.
yeah. So yeah, because from what I understand, they're kind of like almost like a 6-year-old, aren't they? All the time, like with their personalities, and they could be really precocious and.
I think so. And innocent.
Mm-hmm. In this moment, young lady, favorite color is what?
Green today.
Today it's green. Okay.
Yes, green. See?
Aha.
Got my sparkly green thing on.
Now I imagine Montana, you're wintered in right now, aren't you still?
It's all white. But I like white.
Mhm.
You better be
I wouldn't
careful.
trade it.
You better be careful where you say that.
Oh, that's right. We did get away to go to the Caribbean for about 2 weeks, which was very nice. You got to get away.
So are you guys on a full working ranch, or is it just is it more this is just your love?
It's just 15 acres, and I wanted my kids to know where food came from.
Mhm.
So I've had cattle, goats, sheep, chickens, geese, everything. And, but they're all grown now. So I just keep my horses and I have my chickens. So I have my eggs and I raise a big garden, which
Oh,
I love.
nice.
Yeah. But it's just hobby.
Are you near a urban area, or you right in the
Yeah,
country?
we're in the Flathead. It's not huge, but the Flathead Valley probably has about 100,000 people here. We're just 20 minutes from Glacier National Park.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. And we have been invaded.
Oh, by the
last-
migration?
3 years from mostly people from Washington State and Oregon. Just they're almost like political refugees.
Yeah.
Like it's property prices are through the roof. You couldn't just have a regular job here and live here now. You'd have to have 3 or 4,
Right.
or some kind of, other. Oh, that is so cute. Oh, I'm so glad you picked me, Robert.
Well, you were next in the queue, so your timing was good. Big Sky just put into chat that you're their neighbor. Did you know that?
Oh, I'll have to look at that. I turned off the regular YouTube video because it was echoing.
Yeah, I think that the chat has a replay,
Cool.
but of course you can jump back into chat when you're done here too, because I
Oh,
think
there
we
we
have
go.
at least one more person, maybe 2.
Well, if Big Sky is from Big Sky, that's still quite a ways away. Like
Right.
5-hour drive.
It's more of a neighbor than I am, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Montana's big. It's not as big as Texas, but
So is that looking like a Pinto there? What do you think? How's this Pinto looking?
pretty spotty, but that's okay.
Okay, less spotty. I can fix that.
Yeah.
I'm just getting your chickens in here too.
Love it.
Okay, let's get this fixed here.
It looked like it had vitiligo there for a minute.
Yeah, well, that's only due to my, nascence with horses.
I was thinking she's going to test your equine knowledge here in this.
I don't mind being called on stuff because I learned something then.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, we're gonna get these here. Bloop, bloop. Now we're gonna get Montana.
So Big Sky lives in northwestern Flathead Lake.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He is my neighbor.
It could be a she. We don't know.
She, yeah.
They are your neighbor. That's the
Wow,
preferred
that's
pronoun.
cool.
Yeah, northwestern Flathead Lake. There you go.
I think I know who that is. If it is, that might be Melody. Okay, we'll get some distant mountains here. Bloop.
Let's see if Big Sky can confirm that. We got a Bozeman here in chat as well.
We call it Los Angeles now.
Los Angeles. It's funny.
Puns make everything better.
Yeah. Oh, this is not Melody, by the way. We got clarification on that.
Oh, that mountain range looks just like the Swan Mountain Range looking east from Flathead Lake. That's amazing.
Big Sky is 20 minutes from Kalispell. We're getting closer, more accurate.
Yeah, I'm just south of Columbia Falls.
Look at that. Is that looking like a Pinto now?
Pretty close.
All
It's
right.
cute.
Close enough for farm service.
Yeah.
There's just a few little blips here. Near. I think everywhere is probably fenced in. All right.
That is
done.
amazing. That is I'm just so tickled. Oh, thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's
Love
lovely
it.
to meet you.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you, and my name is spelled with an I.
The dot over the I, how do you treat that?
I haven't thought about that.
Well, maybe I'll just put a little horseshoe.
That's a good idea.
So, Kelly, do you have my email address?
It's in the show thing,
Okay. Well, why
the
don't you go-
comments on your video.
Okay. I'm going to put it in here right now. So,
All right.
just go
That is
ahead.
great. Thank
just
you
go-
so much.
Just go ahead and send me your email address, and we'll make sure you get this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Mark. Great to
Pleasure.
meet you.
Pleasure
Yeah.
meeting you.
Bye,
Yeah.
Kelly.
Bye.
All right. So it looks like we have one more person, and this is Angela. Mark.
Hello, Angela.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where are you from?
I'm Italian, but I live in the UK
Mm-hmm.
on the channel, the
Oh,
English
nice.
channel.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me see. Maybe you come a little bit closer to the camera so I can see you a little better. There we go. Thank you so much. So, hand on your heart, young lady. So, feel that spot. In this moment, from your heart to you, if you felt completely free, you could be or do anything. What would that be for you?
Sail on a boat.
Sailing on your boat?
Well, I don't have a boat. I don't sail, but that's the thought that came through.
That's all you need. This doesn't require rules here at all. Okay. So I'm going to see, because I have a small, now in StreamYard, Robert, is there a way to like pin someone, make them bigger, or it's you basically?
Let me see. If I, let's.
That's okay. You know what? I think I
yeah.
can wing it. I'm just going to
Let me see here.
go by feel here.
Let me see if I could do this with her, and tell me if you can see her. I mean, part of this is you being able to show what you're doing, but if I make her solo, it makes her bigger. Can you see her?
Yeah, I can see enough. I'll just need a second, and then you can go back to.
Okay.
Just a little touch here, just one more, so I can see. And pew. Okay, good enough for now, and I can make this work now.
Okay, so we're going to go back into exit solo layout, and there we are, back together again.
All right. So we'll get a nice little sailing adventure here. Now, would you be drinking wine as you're sailing? Maybe, yeah. Let's get that in here.
You got to have wine when you're on the yacht.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll remember that once I get my yacht.
If you could drink a glass of wine, what kind of wine would you be drinking?
Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio. Good
Okay.
choice. I'm helping you out, Mark, here.
Yeah, for sure. Because I would have got the color wrong.
I'm like the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Mm-hmm. Where is that? There we go. In this moment, young lady, your favorite color is what?
In this moment, maybe blue.
Okay.
I knew you were going to say that. I didn't want to spoil it, though.
It's coming together here now. There we go.
That's some pretty sexy sailing so far. Look at that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
This way. Oops. Okay, put it here. And I think we have to, because it's Italian, we need to have more food here too.
What part of Italy are you originally from?
A place near Venice.
Venice.
Yes, so northeast.
Okay. Now, for your sailing, it would be someplace warm, obviously, correct?
Yes, hopefully, because I love this country, but the weather is not that good.
And I'm sorry, I mean, I missed it. Where are you right now living? Oh, London.
In the UK,
In the UK.
southeast. Yes.
Yeah.
I can see France from the beach.
Ah.
So, what do you by Portsmouth? Is that where you're near?
No, the other side. So near Dover.
Okay.
Yeah, I came here about 12 years ago from Italy. But previously I lived, well, I moved a bit around Europe, but after graduation, I went to London.
Mm-hmm.
That was 1995. I meant to stay for a few months, but I fell in love and got married. And then I spent 8 years there. Then we moved to France and back to Italy. And we moved around a bit. So we had a daughter. And it was good. It was a hard job, really hard work. Mm-hmm. It was good. Yeah, and then we came back to the UK and settled down here.
So you visited England and life happened.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
In all those romance novels, usually they move to a warmer country.
Yes. My idea was, to travel a bit and maybe settle down in the, how do you call them? In the places like Jamaica or, the lovely countries. And I ended up in the UK. But, it's life.
The UK, England has some very redeeming qualities. Even the food has gotten better over the years. Like
Yes.
I've noticed that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, more Italian food available.
Yeah.
Of course.
The curries have gotten better over the years.
Yeah. But I remember when I came to the UK, that for the first time, that was 1993, and I couldn't find an espresso for anything. I remember crying because I couldn't find it, you know, just like Americanos and so on.
Yeah, fast forward, like, you can turn and bump into one, I'm sure now.
Every corner,
Yeah.
there is a coffee shop with a decent coffee machine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have to put a little in here as well, just to make it work. Put a little espresso machine here.
Oh,
look at
thank
that.
you.
We're gonna put it on the boat.
You're wired. You're wired up here now.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. And of course, it has to be hot.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And right there on the boat. And just a little bit. Just some sunglasses, fashion. And I'm going to give you just a little bit of some Italian racing stripes on the side of the boat here for you.
There you go.
Thank you. Nice touch.
There you are.
Thank you.
Oh.
Great job. So Angela, I'm going to put my email address again in chat. I did it before, but I'll do it again. And send me your email address, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of this. Okay.
Thank you. Where can I send it?
So I just put my email address in chat.
In the chat, in the live chat?
Yes, in live chat. It's in there.
Okay. Thank you. I will do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Robert.
Hey, man. Thank you. This has been great. This has been a little sample. And 3 is a nice number. 3 is the magic number. And people, if you're out there and you have a corporate event, or you have a non-corporate event, and you have an event, Mark is a free agent. And you could go to his website, and I'll make sure we have some links in here. You could go to his website, and you can hire him, and he will be the absolute hit of your event. And people will leave your event smiling and feeling better about themselves and about their experience. And who could ask for anything more, right?
It's true. My people try to hire me for 2 hours, and they always extend. My last time I was in San Diego, I had a 3-day event, and the first 2 days I worked 12 hours a day, and on the third day I worked 18. It was just nonstop all day long. It was a good time, a lot of fun.
You're a Taurus, you can handle it. Strong like bull.
And I bring my juicer and my blender with me, so I'm not making my digestion as light as possible.
Right.
So I save life force.
Yeah. Well, so Christine brought up a little interesting comment here. Mark at the Harvest Festival. Mark was going to try to join us a couple of years ago, and COVID sort of got in the way. So
yeah, I was really looking forward to coming to that.
Well, maybe we can get you out here for the eclipse.
Super down with that.
That'd be awesome. I mean, we'd love to have you. And we actually had some ideas and plans for last time, and it would be great if we could just pick up where we left off and and do some cool stuff with you down here.
Mhm.
So, what else? You got anything else you want to share today, or do you feel complete?
I feel complete.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you were able to come on. And when do you make your way to San Diego?
Monday, and
Monday.
then early April, I start heading east
Okay.
at some point.
So stay in touch. Just keep in mind, Mark is moving across the southern part of the United States. So if you want to book something with him, just go to his website, and it'd be a great addition to whatever you're doing. And I guess you and I are I'll see you in April, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Mark, thanks for coming on, and have an absolutely wonderful day. It's already gotten off to a great start for all of us, and I'll talk to you on the other side, okay?
All right. Be well.
All right. That's our good friend Mark S. from Cruelty Free Tunes and Tunes for You, his other website, and just an absolute pleasure to have him on the show. And this is what I love about about doing this show. It's not really a traditional show on Fridays, or as a traditional interview show. I don't always have quote unquote really well known guests, but the people that I have on here are really interesting, really talented, and really special. This is one of the things that I think kind of sets this show apart from other shows, and a lot of it comes from you, right? Mark came from, you know, being a client and connecting and sort of joining in. And we've got Leela in here, LMM, and she's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. And of course, the Crimmies were kind of always in the mix, and they go from chat to being a guest and vice versa. So it's a really, I think it's an interesting format. And every now and then we'll get somebody who's got kind of a something timely or a hot name or a hot topic, and we'll have them on. But I like this. I like the way that this show has evolved, and it just feels like it's very intimate, and we have a really good time hanging out with each other. So why don't I just do a quick astro weather here before we get out of here, because I wanted to do one, and this is for the weekend. Let me just punch this up here real fast. Let's see what we got. And I was going to do it before the show, but you know what? Sometimes life happens, and you just got to roll with things. Let's see. What do we have here? I've been reading more about the cartel stuff, and it's been popping up. The cartel stuff has just been popping up, and in reading about how they're basically going to declare war on the cartels. I just had something pop across my Twitter screen yesterday, and that's exactly what they were talking about. And we've been talking about it on this show for a while now, and it's starting to happen. And as we come into Aries season, you're going to hear more. You're going to hear more talk of this. I guarantee you. Culminating in these two major eclipses that are coming in October and April. And the April eclipse, guess where it comes from? It comes right up from Central America and Mexico. And that's in Aries. So we have some very interesting, big astrological weather ahead of us. I'm 2:39. And of course, the reason why all this is happening is the war on cash. And that's what the cartels trade and traffic in, is cash. You can't have an illicit economy, illicit cash economy, when you go into the CBDC world. They don't like that. They don't want it. They don't want any competition. So they got to get rid of the competition. So you'll hear a bunch of virtue signaling about drugs and the drug trade and how they're domestic terrorists. There was a whole thing about how they found pipe bombs and that they were going to apparently they're attributing that to the cartels. Like that was kind of a key moment where they decided that they were going to all of a sudden turn the cartels into a terrorist organization. And honestly, it has very, very little to do with where are we here? It has very little to do with I don't want this. With your safety, your sanctity, nothing. Doesn't have anything to do with that at all. It has to do with wiping out the competition. I'll talk more about that on the Sunday night show. We'll get into the nodes. So here we are. March 17th, 2023. We've got the moon in Aquarius. Cool, detached Aquarius. Coming out of the conjunction with Pluto from earlier this morning. So a lot of you slept through the moon Pluto conjunction last night. How was your dreams? Because of the degree, the moon is actually in sextile today with Mercury. Mercury's moved ahead now. You know, we had the sun in front of Mercury for quite a period of time. We got that Mercury retrograde. It's finally caught up and passed the sun. And what's really interesting is that when you have Mercury in front of the sun, there generally tends to be more thoughtfulness, or there's more thinking through things. There's more analysis, even in Pisces, even in fluid, intuitive Pisces. With Mercury in this position, you're just going to get more kind of mental energy now versus 3 days ago when Mercury was behind the sun. It was more experiential energy. That there was this idea of kind of throwing yourself into something and then thinking about it and processing it later. That equation has changed. And here we have we're really counting down to the final degrees of the zodiac. We got basically 4 more degrees of the sun in Pisces, and then we move. By that time, the moon is in Aries, and we're into the equinox territory, spring equinox, and the rebirth, right? The rebirth of the astrological new year. So this is a really interesting time, and looking at your ideas, and looking at your thoughts, and looking at your perceptions. And which ones do you want to let go of in Pisces? Which ones do you want to be able to just it's almost like you got the fish on the hook. You take the fish on the hook and you off the hook and you throw it back. Like what do you want to hold on to, and what do you want to let go of? Because with Mercury and the sun moving in such close conjunction to the astrological new year, and then we throw the moon in there, and boy, do we have the opportunity to really kickstart our intentions. Like it's all happening, right? We've got Jupiter in Aries, Chiron is in Aries. We've got Mercury in Aries, the Sun in Aries. We've got the Moon in Aries, and it's all around the equinox, and Aries is going to play such a big role during the next 2 years. When the true node transits into Aries on July 25th, and I was talking with one of my clients this last week, and how when Mars was in Aries during COVID, that was one of those gifts from the universe if you were paying attention. Right? It's like, here you go. Here's Mars in Aries. If you want the strength, you want the courage, You want the martial capacity to engage with your will during a time when a bunch of other people want to tell you what to do. Here it is. Like, here's the energy. And I jumped on it. It's like, okay, let's go. Mars and Aries, let's go. And it was in abundance during that time. Remember, that was when Mars was in Aries and it retrograded and it went back into Aries. It was like the universe was saying, you don't want to miss this opportunity. If you want to learn how to be a warrior, this is the time to do it. And a lot of people did. Now, of course, we had to go through that absolutely horrific retrograde period during the summer of Floyd. Oh my God. That's a whole other discussion. But it was a test rehearsal, right? It was a dress rehearsal. 2020 was a dress rehearsal for the true node in Aries, which is coming. And if you missed the opportunity with Mars and Aries, well, guess what? You get a second chance here. It was a dress rehearsal. So the energy in July when the node shift is huge. We get a prelude. We get a prelude coming very shortly to a spring equinox near you. But in the meantime, we're cycling through here this weekend. Boy, we got a lushy St. Patrick's Day. Mercury, Sun, Neptune in Pisces, Mars coming in, cracking open the keg, right, with that square. People, all I'm saying, have a good time. Don't drive drunk. Don't drive impaired. And this is from somebody who took way too many chances in his life, way too many chances, and had some angels watching over him a number of times. But can you be moderate this weekend? That's the question. The Mars Saturn trine says yes, moderation is quite possible. But here we go. We're at the final degrees of Gemini. And when you get to those final degrees, 27, 28, 27 here, 28 tomorrow, 27 tomorrow, the energy is really static. It's really static at the end, right? It's really static before it goes to 29 and everything becomes inert. So we have a lot of staticky energy over the weekend. A lot of staticky energy. We're going to have the moon in Aquarius up until Sunday. Then it goes into that very intense, powerful balsamic phase on Sunday night, where the moon conjunct Saturn. There's a lot of sobriety on Sunday night. There's a lot of depth and people really taking things in on Sunday night. It's a quiet time. Sunday night. It's really interesting energy on Sunday night as we, move closer into the equinox energy. Really deep diving, powerful. Mars is still in play. There's also a restlessness and feeling like we want to get on with cracking the seed open and sprouting something new. And this is going to be a great time. When Mars moves into Cancer and begins to trine Saturn, if you want to invest in a long-term project, a long-term work, I'm telling you, astrologically, I haven't seen a time like this that's been this good. When we have, Mars at the early degrees of Cancer and Saturn at the early degrees of Pisces, inspired, disciplined, and invested in something that theoretically nurtures you, right? We got this kooky Aquarian moon. I think it's fitting for St. Patrick's Day. People get to kind of act out a little bit. Everybody gets to pretend they're somebody else. In this case, it's Irish. Again, Fridays are always weird days with the news cycle. And we have that Pluto hanging out at 29. Technically, it's in square with Venus, even though Venus has moved into Taurus. It was nice. It was good today. We just were able to take our time and hang out, have a very relaxed show, which is really a definition of some of the better aspects of Taurus. There's kind of a manana vibe with Taurus, but when it's right, when the when the energy and the timing is good, it's like, why not relax a little? Maybe this Pluto Venus square kind of gets into the potential of, kind of kicking back and relaxing a bit this weekend. The 29th degree of Capricorn, maybe there's a sense that you have to get something done. I got to get something done. I got to finish something. But, the energy itself, especially with the kooky moon in Aquarius, could be a lot of fun, actually. So detach a little bit, let the world do what it's going to do for 48 hours or so. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your friends, pretend you're Irish, I guess. Drink green beer. I've never done that. I've never drank green beer. The whole idea of drinking green beer, I guess if I was with the right group of people, I guess maybe it might be somewhat appealing. But it's the one day of the year where if you're white, you get to celebrate. So take advantage of it. But I've always found it ironic that it's also the one day that encourages getting shit faced and making an absolute fool of yourself and regretting what you did 48 hours later or whatever. It's a bit ironic, but nonetheless, have a great weekend. I really do like the energy this weekend. Have some fun, detach a bit from the cares and the worries of the world. They'll be there. They'll be there when you come back on Monday. Trust me. Just watch out with the Mars Neptune square, Mars Mercury square. Because the other thing too is if you have a little bit too much, right, with this square, you might say or do something you may regret a little bit later. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all. We'll be back on Sunday night and we'll get into more of this Aries energy. I started to talk about it last Sunday night, and I'm going to take up the baton and talk about it more again this Sunday and kind of get into and dive into more of this idea of where we're headed with the nodes and looking back at the last time Mars was in Aries and how it was all a dress rehearsal. Well, when the true node hits Aries, it's no longer a dress rehearsal. There's a call for every man and woman to be able to live with a sense of will and purpose and standing strong in their own individuality and humanity, not devoid of their divinity either. We're single pointed and single focused, and the whole idea is to become integrated and one. All right, mods, thanks for being here. Chataria, you're the best. Thanks again to Mark S for showing up and making our Friday a little more, putting a little more bounce on our Friday and bringing his talents to the Friday Firecast. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to stay open to what's possible. We'll see you all on Sunday night. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye for now.